We hadn't chatted in a while. We certainly haven't chatted just the two of us.
I know. It was kind of guest host crazy.
Yeah, just spend a little time chatting away. Specifically, this episode, we don't have to talk about this because it's our show, but about our first couple years together doing our podcasts. I think that maybe the first 20 episodes we can chat about things we maybe don't agree with anymore, agree to disagree, just whatever we chatted about when we were young podcasters who didn't really sound the
Didn't know
greatest,
no better.
right? And now we're expert pros. I mean, I have it on my resume now,
Yeah, how many Comic Cons has it gotten us into?
Comic.
Yeah. Don't we get a press pass?
Right, yeah.
You're listening to And This Is Why I Love Comics.
And welcome to another episode of And This Is Why I Love Comics. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And I've just told you what we were doing, so I mean, there's really no point in saying
spoilers.
it again. But we're here podcasting away in the wee hours of the night. No guest this time. I think this is the only one where it's just us again, but you never know. We got a couple episodes left to the road to 100. Our flashback episode, I don't know how you want to call it, back to the episodes that no one listened to at all.
Yeah.
And
even though I gotta admit, it was tough.
yeah, I mean, audio problems and just sound quality. We were just getting used to stuff. So, I mean, I would delete them if I didn't enjoy the growth of them. Like, it's just like, do we really want those on there? But to me, it shows that we've improved, and we have. Whether you like us or not is something different, but we have improved our quality and tried to improve other things. So, if you're listening to us now, you probably have heard another episode or two. But we're just going to talk today about, I think, the first couple years, first 21 episodes, I think is what I looked at. But we'll just see how much we do, what we go for. There's been some things in the last few days that I've been suffering through because I'm old. That hasn't changed since episode 1. I mean, I either have a cough or something's going on,
Yeah.
So,
well, I think it's just part of your personality at this point. I don't think it's like even a matter of like, oh yeah, somebody, some people have a nervous tick. Some people have, I think it's just now just rolled up into who you are.
Yeah. Right. Last episode, we had Ben Ferrari from Pilot Studios. You should check it out. Kanan the Marauder ended and did pretty well.
Successful.
So he added a few people since our podcast. So congratulations to them. And I hear there's going to be a trade paperback. I filled out all my information for the Kickstarter, so I'm looking forward to getting that book.
Yeah, that'll be coming pretty quick because he was saying as part of it is that he's got to wrap up and say everything's shipped before he can hit up another one. So I was like, dang, okay.
Yep, and that was fun. And we talked to Kevin, New Comic Book Kevin. He's not a comic book, but he's a new reader. Yeah. And we've had a lot of good guests in the 90s. We should maybe become a guest podcast, just guest after guest after guest.
Well, we can pretend to have somebody, and just kind of like do a different voice.
Right. I could create another screen and just have a shadow puppet kind of thing. Here's comic book artist Art Adams. Hey.
Yay! Hello, I'm Art Adams. And it's like, hey, you guys were pretending to be me on the podcast. Oops, sorry.
I'm sure that'll go over well. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Motor City Comic Con was last weekend. Did you go at all?
Afraid not. Afraid not. I didn't even look it up. I mean, I haven't really been to that one since, well, I think I went to it once after it went from being like the Dearborn Comic Con to the Novi Comic Con to Motor City. I think I went to one Motor City Comic Con and that was it.
Yeah, I didn't go either. I mean, I saw the list and of guests, and Scott Snyder, and Stephanie, some whatever Majiggy from Daredevil. Look good. It's with the guests, but no one I had to go rush and see. All the old timers, they go to all the Florida ones and all that stuff. They don't come up to Detroit like they used to.
No.
So our friend Roberto in Florida, he goes to all the cool cons and meets all the cool people. To me, because I have children and they're little, I have still 2 little children. I just don't feel like dragging them through a con at the moment, especially when I'm paying a lot to get in. And that's me. Some of you have no problem doing it. That's great. Me, I'm old fashioned.
Well, that's, that is very true with these Comic Cons is like, you got to kind of think about like, what am I willing to spend to just get into the door? And then, is this of interest to everybody who's there, or is it just interest for me?
Right. And that's the thing. If I'm dragging them around, they might want to see a couple cool, popular things, but I'm not going to be looking through long boxes while I have 2 little children around. Not for very long. Not before it's like, I'm bored. Let's go.
Yeah. Can I look at this? Yeah.
So, I mean, I took my 2 older boys when they were younger to Novi, and they enjoyed it. But we took it for what it was. We went to see all the Star Wars guys, dressed up and meet a couple friends there that I knew. But other than that, I didn't. We looked through the toys, and stuff like that. But there was no comic book searches and stuff like that. And I'm fine with that as long as I know going in. But I don't look through toys anymore. I've got plenty of toys already. And
yeah, I hear you.
So, yeah. So I don't know. It's life changes, maybe in another decade when they're older and as old as, your children, maybe they'll go again.
Yeah, because I was trying to think like, then there's also a trade-off of you can drive all the way out there or there's the Grand Rapids one and you can get it. You don't have to pay for a hotel. You don't have to, so do you miss out on some of the bigger guests because you're going to a smaller con? Yeah. You're getting the experience nonetheless. So,
right.
And there's something about the smaller cons too, that it's like, I wouldn't say that they try harder, but you can get in, you don't feel like you're so cram packed and you're waiting, 50 hours, just to get to meet somebody. It's like the smaller ones, the lines aren't as long. I mean,
right.
My son just got back from, I think it's called like Anime Central in Chicago.
Okay.
And they waited for like 2 hours for one voice actor. I'm like going 2 hours just to, okay. And then pew, gone. Huh. And it's like, that. I don't think I can do that anymore. It's just when you're on what I like to refer to as borrowed time at this point, it's like, do you feel like 2 hours is worth waiting in a line for somebody, or go to a smaller con? And I mean, for better or for worse, that Hall of Heroes con, let's talk about that for a little bit. The Hall of Heroes con is coming up. It's at the end of the month, May. Well, it's the Friday and Saturday, or Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, so it's May 30 and 31st. They don't get A-list actors and they don't get A-list artists.
Oh, come on. I think I saw Dean Cain there.
Dean Cain, true, very true. But there was John Heater was there a couple of years back, Napoleon Dynamite himself, and there was zero line. Zero. He was actually kind of like looking around like, hey, anybody? And Doug Jones, for whatever that's worth, he was there, and he was like Abe Sapien in the Hellboy movies, and
sure, and some Star Trek stuff too, right?
Yeah. He was actually, I oddly enough, do you remember Mac Tonight, the moon-shaped guy head?
Yeah, was that him?
Yeah, that was him.
Wow,
that's like an early role he was in. He was the body playing the piano. So he was there, and he was super friendly with people. Just, hey, come on up by, talk, chat for as long as you want. And that's a benefit of these smaller shows, is that, you're kind of catching people on the latter part, but at the same point, the pressure of getting in, getting out, waiting in forever in a line to meet somebody is just not there.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. When Dean Cain was there, and it was the Mads, and we were there for the Mads.
Yeah,
they pulled us down from this. Anybody here for the Mads? Yep. That's us. We got right in line.
Yep, got out of there, and we chatted with them for a good long time.
Yep, nobody else was coming, so
yeah, they were like, okay, and we kind of kept looking like, is there anybody else? Because we don't want to, like, hold somebody up if there's, and they didn't seem like they were like, hey, if you guys are here, we'll chat.
Right, yeah. So we're doing nothing else.
Yeah, they're getting paid. That was brilliant too, because they did that show afterwards. Frank and Trace Bellew did that show post the convention.
Yeah, that's right.
And we were sitting like, what, 2 rows behind them?
I was gonna say, we could hear them. They were mic'd, but they were also right there in front of us.
There. Yeah. So we kind of got that whole Mystery Science Theater, because they were like in front of us, so you can kind of see their silhouette in front of the movie that they were watching.
Yep.
And I was like, man, this is good. And it was funny because, like, I don't know if it was their first go at a live show or something like that, but they had one joke and it didn't land. It just, and everyone, and they were like, quickly was like, if you guys think you can riff better, then come on up. But it's just, you wouldn't get any other experience like that. Right there, they're live, they're doing it, and making the movie riffs right in front of you. So it's like you could react, respond in real time, and it's like, this is brilliant. So that worked out well. So again, the Grand Rapids Comic-Con is coming up, and then this Hall of Heroes in Elkhart, Indiana is coming up for us local folks.
Yeah, and you had sent me the list of the Elkhart, and it was Erik Estrada.
Yep. And I love that.
Man, I've always wanted to meet that guy. Just growing up, I thought he looked a lot like my dad, so he was like my hero kind of character. And I mean, it's crazy that I could meet him if I wanted to.
Yeah.
It's really possible, right?
Okay. Yeah. As a kid, it's like, these guys are only in Hollywood. They'll never come through this area. And I was like, nope. The only thing I was going to, if I were to have something signed by him, I have the complete series of C-Lab 2021. There was an Adult Swim take on the old Hanna-Barbera C-Lab cartoon, because like C-Lab 2020 was the original show, and then this Adult Swim was like, what happens to this underwater science lab a year later? And it's obviously it's a comedy.
Yeah, didn't have the dolphin in it, right?
Yeah, but Erik Estrada did one of the voice characters in it, and it's clearly Erik Estrada. They weren't like, okay, try to disguise your voice, try to make it a little bit more. No, it's Erik Estrada.
It's Erik Estrada, yeah.
So that was great.
That's awesome.
Was Dirk Benedict, just for the name alone. I mean, even if he wasn't a celebrity, just to have a name Dirk Benedict, I mean, he could not have been born with that name. That's gotta be right. Hollywood manufactured names.
Yep.
But
Starbuck himself.
Yep. Yeah. Face. So I got some of the old Marvel Battlestar Galactica comics.
Okay.
Maybe. But I also have like an 18 card game where you race the van through a city. And it's like, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think I'd have anything for either one. I'd have to buy something there.
Yeah.
To do it. I mean, I have an old Chips toy of Erik Estrada on a motorcycle that I have it where we're selling it. At the antique store. I have one, But I don't. It's kind of old, and it's probably the other guy, not.
Yeah, Punch and John.
It's probably John and not
Yeah,
Punch. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything else really.
yeah. Because I was trying to think, like, is there anything I could bring? No, the one other one that's going to be there at this Elkhart show, Tara Reid.
American Pie, Tara Reid.
Tara Reid was in American Pie.
Okay.
But she was also in the fine cinematic made-for-TV Sharknado movies. And so I have a Riff Tracks Sharknado DVD that I might see if that would work.
That'd be fun.
But it is kind of a struggle if you were to bring something in to have them sign, but they also have, photos that you just pay the dollars and the photo comes with it.
My wife just found some at Goodwill. It was Patrick Swayze stuff, so I don't know if I can get that signed by him or not. It might be a little late.
Yeah. Can you have it signed through a Ouija board?
Right, yeah. Probably. According to Buzzsprout.com, which is where we host our podcast, we've been doing this for a little while now.
I was very stunned because you said, like, let's go back through our first, few episodes. And I'm like scrolling. And it's like, yeah, I know that we're getting close to 100 episodes total. But I was just kind of like going, well, we've been doing this like, maybe one a month or something like that. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. And I'm using Apple's podcast. So I'm just like kind of scrolling and it's like, okay, 2024, 2023, holy crap. We started this in 2021.
Yeah, it was July 31st, 2021. We're almost on our 5-year.
Yikes.
And 100 episodes. I'm sure other people have done 100 episodes in a week, but
yes.
Whatever. You can do that. We're at our own pace. There's episodes I don't remember. Like, we talked about that?
Yeah, it was kind of fun because I was looking back through. And it's like, I kind of was like, as I was rolling back through time, it's like, well, who's this? I don't remember, So there was a couple of guests and there was a couple of, like, oh, I forgot about that. And the sad thing was like, we were talking about Keith Giffen. It's like, man, yeah, that was just 3 months ago. That was 2023.
Yeah, some of these conversations is like, oh, we just talked about that. No, we talked about that like 4 years ago. And it's like, oh, okay. We started out July 31st, so the very end of July 2021. At least that's when our first episode was out. I think we recorded it like 2 weeks prior, and then I had to figure out how to edit because I hadn't edited anything ever before.
I don't think our voices had cracked yet either.
No, not yet. I don't think we had anything figured out back then. I sound like like my little intro about why I'm doing a podcast sounds like I was 10. It's just like, hello. I've always wanted to dream about doing a podcast, and we've grown since then. At least older,
not wiser, not anything else.
Yeah, we still love comics, but there's real life we have going on too, and that's kind of sometimes it takes over. The first thing we talked about was Cosmic Odyssey. We both like this artist.
Oh yeah.
And both remember liking this story. Let's start with that one.
Yep.
Jim Starlin, Mike Mignola. Of course, ever since I've known you, you've been a Mike Mignola fan.
Oh yeah.
And I liked him pretty early on too. And I still think about that series. Tried not to go back to that episode because I can't hear myself talk about that episode. Like, I remember opening that and seeing Batman versus the alien with a hole in his chest and just the ray gun, like the art, gorgeous. Like, I still remember that. I still remember like the silhouettes and the heroes and everything like that. Like, I still think the art was great, and I still think the story was so dumb.
It was formulaic. I think is the best I could give it. We're going to set out and we're going to destroy the universe, and we're going to do it a trade-off. You get a victory, we get a victory. You get a victory, so that it's got to end on one thing. It's kind of, to me, kind of going back through those issues, I was like, yeah, the artwork phenomenal, story by the numbers. I mean, it was just like, okay, who's popular? No Wonder Woman? No, because she's not as popular as the Teen Titans are. So we're gonna get Starfire instead. Because there was 0 point of having Starfire in that book. You know, it wasn't like she brought anything other than being a female superhero. Right. Yeah. So it's still like, yeah, it was just, and these guys are popular. And it really didn't have any lasting after effects, except for I think that's where John Stewart had that Mosaic comic kind of spin out of that.
Yeah, the John Stewart,
or maybe
the one thing that lasted was the John Stewart and the planet Xanthi or whatever that blew up because he screwed up. Like that psychologically is carried throughout. It
was, yeah.
Like, even though they don't even talk about Cosmic Goddess anymore, he's still the one that screwed up and a whole planet blew up, you know, back in his head, kind of thing. And I'm surprised that has stayed that way, but it, for some reason, like that plot point stuck to that character and won't ever get washed away on that. Like Star Wars The Last Jedi, where I can't get over the basic concept of that was a car chase in space and they ran out of gas, kind of like the whole movie was a car chase and oh no, I'm going to run out of gas stupidity of Star Wars. The same thing with Cosmic Odyssey was, here's this threat that's going to destroy the universe. I'm going to pick you 6 out of everybody and we're going to go rescue the world. You know, like this should have been the Crisis on Infinite. You know, everybody coming out and, you know, we'll get everybody who can't. No, I'm going to pick you. We're going to pair up and try and save the universe. And it's like, really? That's all you got?
And then, like you said, you know, this is Cosmic Odyssey. The first word is cosmic. Why is Batman in it?
Right.
You know, there's nothing cosmic, even though even at that time, I don't think he was quite to the overpowered, like he can do everything and he's better than everybody, even though he's still human.
Even though the best scenes were with him in it.
Yeah, they were. Well, I mean, Mignola was born and bred to have worked on a Batman title.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that street level, dark, heavy inks. He's not the bright, garish costume. Because, like, his Superman, as much as I like his art, not a good Superman.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But his Batman, anytime Batman was there, you could tell he actually was enjoying drawing that page. Anything when it wasn't Batman, I was like, okay, yeah, it's a paycheck.
Right. Yeah. We'll get through this.
Yeah. But yeah, all in all, opinion has not changed at all on that one.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I thought it would. I thought both of us would go, yeah, that was still the greatest. And you know.
I still, and I think what really boiled down to solidify was going back through them, and I realized partway through that I'm not reading the book. I'm just looking at Mignola's art. You know, I'm reading like the first couple pages and then like a panel or two on a page. And then it's just like, oh, that's a cool drawing. Flip. Oh, that's a great composition. Flip. Wow. That worked out great. I love that, you know, use of shadows. 0, you know, let's talk about dialogue. Let's talk about, no impact. Wasn't paying attention to it.
That whole book, the whole series should have been Batman chasing down in the sewers a monster that's killing things. And yes, it's from Darkseid's homeworld, whatever, but that was more interesting than anything else that came later.
Because it all felt very like, it was so, again, formulaic, and it was just like, you knew I need in this issue, these two are going to pair off. They're going to win. These two are going to pair off here and fight this, and they're going to lose. This one, they're going to, because there was 5 entities, and they had to resolve all 5. Well, it's like, well, if the heroes can stop 3 out of 5 and get the majority, it's like watching tennis with superheroes. You know, it's just like, well, we got the majority. We won yeah, so there was no mystery. There wasn't any like deep seated. And even when they were like, I made a phone call, and it's like, oh, I wonder who could it. Oh, it's Dr. Fate.
Yeah.
So at that point, you might as well call the Spectre. You might as well call, the Phantom Stranger. You might as well, any really cosmic characters and put them in there.
Yeah, that says a lot because one of my favorite characters, Dr. Fate, and I could care less he was in that thing. It's like, yeah, great. Okay. That's great.
One thing that I did kind of go back and hit was I don't know how familiar Jim Starlin was with the DC universe. Gone through the entire, Infinity Gauntlet, anything to do with Captain Marvel back in the hippy dippy era, his Gilgamesh book and so forth. So I don't know if he had a whole lot of back and forth on the DC. I think he didn't he do like the Hulk Superman crossover or something like that Steve Rude had done the art for?
That sounds familiar. You're saying he's the Brian Michael Bendis of his time, Jim Starlin?
Yeah. Came in, Bendis on Superman. If you want to destroy any goodwill. Oh, Super Sons, that's doing really well. Damian Wayne and
how can I destroy this?
Let's age him up really fast. And so there's zero. Oh yeah, that'll do it.
Right. Yeah. Legion of Superheroes. Let's not stick with what people know. Let's just confuse them more.
Yeah.
Great.
So the next one we kind of hit up was the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah, episode 4, Infinity Gauntlet, huh?
Yeah.
Another Jim Starlin. We were trying to,
find a good segues from one book to the next. And then, if we were to kind of cut that up, we should have gone from like Perez. It was the next one because we did talk a little bit about Wonder Woman because it was kind of like we were looking at like how do we connect this title to this title from that title to the next title. Yep. We had lofty ambitions at the beginning there.
We did. We were so naive.
Exactly. Yeah. So Infinity Gauntlet, I can sum it up by the sequence of Silver Surfer. We're going to keep you as far away as possible. And then you're going to fly in at super speed and grab it.
That's the plan?
That's the plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well thought out there.
Yeah. And it's like Nightcrawler could have just teleported, did the same thing.
But not that fast. Yeah, at least that book had a lot of heroes. It was cosmic more than Cosmic Odyssey was. But yeah, again, it fell flat. You didn't like the art as much as I did. I enjoyed the art because I like Ron Lim, George Perez. But even Perez's art wasn't as great as it normally was.
Yeah, I don't know if it was bad inking or if it was just rushed. But the fact that, Ron Lim had to step in kind of gave you the, I don't think he was keeping up with the deadlines.
Probably not. My opinion hasn't changed on that book either, really. I thought it might, but I even looked through older pages and again, it was fun storytelling, but the story left me wanting a tighter script. It was very casual almost. What should we do? Yeah, like you said, Silver Surfer, here's our plan. And it wasn't much of a plan.
Yeah, you had all these issues to build up to that.
Right. So
I will say, for what it's worth, and this is again another thing that makes me wonder if he, being Jim Starlin, was so much more familiar with the Marvel stuff that he felt more comfortable in that setting. I hadn't read any of those issues, that were connected in any way to the Infinity Gauntlet. I didn't read any of the Warlock Chronicles or whatever they were called at that point. Yeah. I didn't read any of the Silver Surfer issues, anything. So, but I felt like I understood these characters a lot quicker and a lot better in this series than I did in the Cosmic Odyssey series.
Yeah, I can see that. And I was following Silver Surfer not much of the other stuff, and I'm enjoying that. That must have been Jim Starlin too, because I think he wrote a lot of that, and I was
Mhm.
enjoying that, like the mix of Thanos, and it was very cosmic, and he was meeting a bunch of other cosmic characters, and it went right into Infinity Gauntlet, and I think Infinity Gauntlet like hit the wall, but I was enjoying the Silver Surfer stuff, so I'm not sure why I wasn't all in when actually the event happened. But I mean, back then I probably liked it more than I did after that reread. But still, I don't think we've found the Jim Starlin story that we want to read.
Yeah. And what didn't he do? It was called like The Breed or something like that for the Bravara comics. Like when like Gil Kane did The Edge and
Yeah,
Chaykin did Power and Glory or something like
Glory.
that.
Yeah,
And so they were all doing their own kind of like Dark Horse had Legends. And then there was this other team of people that was at Bravara that was doing their own
yeah.
Simon.
Whatever happened to that line?
It was that was all through Malibu, and Malibu got bought out by Marvel, and then they kind of shut the doors on everything and everything, anything and everything Malibu.
I haven't thought about that line in a long time.
Yeah, I know, and some of it's kind of sad because it's like, oh, there was some potential, and the worst was that Walt Simonson's Star Slammers
Oh yeah.
did not get its final issue. It was like decades later, almost that Dark Horse came out with a special
Oh
that was
really?
like, and the final issue finally came out.
Yes.
And it's like, I mean, as a fan, how we would ever have like understood, oh wow, is that a new issue? Is he
Right.
starting
Yeah,
over?
that
Is this
was
a reprint?
pre-internet.
Yeah, so it's just like good luck trying to sort all this mess out
Hmm.
and find out who's doing what on that title. But yeah, I came across that one recently and it's like, holy crap. And then I looked it up online to see if I owned this issue because I was like, when this is by a different print. So is this reprinting these books again under Dark Horse or what is this? I was like, nope, this was number 5 in the 4-issue series that Bavara started. And I was like, oh, and it's like, yep, completing his story years later.
After that, we talked with Matt 1.0 about movies, and then we went into Wonder Woman.
Yep.
Nope, well, kinda,
Somewhat. That was kind of a,
sorta.
yeah. We were
Um,
supposed to have talked about it, and then we got sidetracked in other conversations. And it's like, yeah, we'll come back to it.
right. And so we ended up talking about Final Crisis, Grant Morrison.
Yeah.
Already episode 7 we're talking about here.
Man, we're flying through these.
Uh,
Will say that there was some good aspects of it. I still felt like, I mean, I will not say that Morrison is fantastic in anything he touches. Feel more like if I can give a batting average, if I could, Alan Moore is probably about 80% batting average of like just brilliant work. I'll put Grant Morrison around 60.
okay.
Not quite
Put
a
him
coin
higher
flip
than
that is good or bad, but the things that I have read, I've enjoyed. But this one, it got I kind of got lost partway through the book, and I was reading them issue after issue. I can't imagine trying to have sorted this out and then waiting, read one, wait a month, read one, wait a month, read one, wait a month. And it's like there was no way possible. It wasn't great storytelling, and I don't know how much interference he had from editorial or anything like that, but it just felt very so it still had good art. I remember that. And some of the story I liked, but I wouldn't say this was like it was no Crisis on Infinite Earths. It was
no,
definitely
which we should read soon. Yeah, Final Crisis, I remember, and I still enjoyed that more than you did. I think Grant Morrison, to me, while his, while like most writers, the ending never hits as good as it should. I think his ideas are very Alan Moore-ish. Like he's Alan Moore like Junior,
yeah.
um, where he's got these great ideas, and some of them are great, some of them are way out there, but at least he's trying something different. He's trying
Yeah.
he's not
breathing
trying.
life into stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, I like his stuff. The art was off and on in this series, and so I probably like the story better. I still don't. That was with the bullet, even, right? The bullet through time and brought back Barry Allen kind of thing. Was that?
Yeah.
And I'm never a big fan of Barry Allen coming back. Like he should have died like Uncle Ben and never returned because his
Yep.
character was more important as a past character than as a present character. There's that, but I think I enjoyed this series overall. It had a lot of potential, and then I'm really like any of the crises, none of it mattered anyway within a year.
Yeah. Because I mean, I'm trying to think, because he came out with Multiversity or something like that explained, the reforming of all the different universes and 52 different universes. And I was like, oh man, it's already splitting, and then they had Identity Crisis, and then they had, I mean, it diluted the event by having so many.
Yep. And it's still diluted. Like you could name the last 4 events from DC and I could care less. Didn't collect it. I'm still burned out. I probably will be for the next decade.
I was really close. I found them in a dollar bin, and I found a goodly number of them. Doomsday Clock.
Okay.
And I was like, ooh, this could be good. The art's fantastic.
Yeah.
Jeff Johns, hit or miss, in my opinion. I know he did, I'm not a fan of the multicolored rings and everything. It was a little weird that, Sinestro had a yellow ring. And it's like, well, yeah, he got it from Quard or something like that. And then it's like, well, that's based off of something else. And it's like, I didn't know it was based off of Fear. I thought he just had a yellow ring.
Right.
And then,
they made it into more.
Yeah. And then Star Sapphire had, similar things, but hers was kind of a pink color. And you're like, okay. But it made sense because, like, everybody in the DC universe at that time had an analogous villain. So Superman had, Bizarro.
Yep.
And, it was like as cold and calculating as Batman was, you had the Joker that was the opposite. So there's always, like, whatever you are, there's the opposite. You had, if you wanted to, you can even say that Man-Bat was Batman's opposite. You could say, there's always something that was like the exact opposite mirror image of these characters. And Green Lantern had the Yellow Lantern. And it's like, okay, yeah, that made sense because there's an exact opposite. But then it's like, oh, no, we're going to say there's an orange one. And then there's there's red ones. And then there was, like, I'm going, oh my God.
Blue diamonds and
purple horseshoes. It got a little overwhelming to the point where it's like, it already had 5 human Green Lanterns, and then it's
now there's like 8.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, I thought there was only 1 assigned per sector. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, and the ring chooses its next bearer, but then it's like, well, why are they all picking humans? And then why are those humans stuck on Earth when you have a whole sector to take care of?
Everything happens on Earth.
Yeah. And Mega Men will tell you that obviously if you don't keep it on Earth, it doesn't sell.
True. That's true.
And then, so it's already like, well, yeah, but Hal Jordan's the best of them. It's like, okay, for how long? Then if he's the best, then why have these other ones? You're now going to go, well, not only is Hal Jordan the best out of 1,000 Green Lanterns, there's also all these other lanterns, and they also have 1,000. Yep. And you're just like, the most powerful weapon is not the most powerful weapon when there's 1,000,000 of them.
Right. So, they water it down, and it's not special anymore.
No. If everybody's got a ring, no one's got a ring. Right. Thank you, Syndrome from The Incredibles. It's just like, and unfortunately, they'll never be able to undo it. They'll never be able to get it back to where it's like Green Lantern stands alone as being like, holy crap. And I think that might be part of the reason why that Absolute is doing well, even though that one already has 3 Green Lanterns in it.
Does it? Oh, I only have read the Batman one, and it's good. It was good. It could not be Batman and still be good. Like, it should be its own thing. It didn't have to be Batman's story, but
yeah.
But I haven't read the Superman. I heard the Green Arrow was good, but
we've kind of pooped on every title we've read up to this point. Some has been absolute diarrhea poop on, and then others have been just like little bits of corn poop.
And a lot of our listeners went, "Do you like comics at all?"
Yeah, exactly. We're bitter old men. What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah, you're getting the theme of this, right?
Yeah, there's kind of a pattern that's going to happen. But episode 8 hit, and I felt it was very ironic that it was Thanksgiving. It's like, man, thank you for giving us Tom Strong.
Right. Yeah.
I could read that over and over and over again.
Me too.
It had Chris Sprouse art from the get-go. And, as much as I love Supreme, some of those early issues had like Ian Churchill and some other like really not great artists on there. And they missed the point and they just couldn't get it good. And then all of a sudden Chris Sprouse got hired on, and it's like, no, you guys have, it's like
you've met, now do something cool.
And so I was like, yeah. So then Supreme wrapped up, and it's like, well, that was it for that. Dang it. And then the two picked up and they did Tom Strong, and it's like, this is absolute gold. Still holds up, will always hold up, is a fantastic title. And it's, I know Dynamite is making use of those public domain characters like the Shadow and the Black Terror and Phantom Lady, those kind of things where it's like, those are open for anybody to make comics based off of those characters. It's like, yep, that's fine. So those original pulp characters exist, but this in its form, like everything story-wise was built. They didn't have to retcon anything. They didn't have to throw like, oh, wait, he's got a mystery child, and that's who this arch enemy is, and that all along you're like, that kind of throws the whole, like, why would there be a mystery child? I mean, it's one of those things where it's just comics today, they just run out of like ideas, or they didn't build it into the sauce to begin with.
Yeah.
And it's like, so they wind up as like, okay, I ordered this pizza, it's on my table, I'm eating it, and then they go, oh, wait, I need to put some oregano on it. And it's like, I've already eaten like 5 bites out of this, and now you're sprinkling oregano. This is now changing the whole flavor of this pizza. That's what a lot of comics, but this already had all the ingredients in it right from the get-go. And the art was fantastic. The stories were fantastic. I mean, it had a steampunk robot. It had the talking gorilla. It had, high adventures and a world that was built that was like very, like, it was reminiscent but current. It had everything to it, and it's like, I'm still singing its praises.
Yeah, that pulp series, it's gonna always be timeless because it's its own thing. It can be a little bit of everything, and they did such a good job on it. And the art obviously helped, but the story was great. The side characters, the hints at something in the future that would happen, and then a couple issues later it would happen, or you could have a future story, kind of like what Ben Ferrara was saying about his character. We have a young kid story, we have old man story. You could do anything in the timeline. That book could go on, and I would want the omnibus of it, just fill in all the new pages and stuff, because it's such a good story. I probably will get rid of a lot of my collection as I get older. I'm not planning on ever getting rid of the Tom Strong stuff, just because that stuff I can sit down and read. Like, I could read that to my kids. There's nothing really insanely bad or vicious about it. You might be able to, skip a couple, maybe little minor things, but it's very timeless, and it's just amazing the work they did.
like you said, it's not one you're going to get rid of. It's just a solid storytelling and it's peak performance on it. But yeah, I agree. I probably wouldn't part with these books. In fact, I've been getting the ones that even Alan Moore hadn't written. Stephen Moore started writing some, and then the characters still hold up, and so I was like, I'll I'll keep it until it runs out. And Chris Sprouse did the art for the final issue, saying farewell, and it's like, well, that was good. It ran its course.
Yep, that's excellent stuff. And then, like you said, that was the first time I think we both went, there are comics out there that we like. And let's read more of that. And,
yeah. I was just going to say his ABC comics were really well done. I mean, there was a few that were like, I could, Promethea was good. I enjoyed those. It got really trippy really fast. And I was like, I'm losing my mind of trying to wrap my head around this. Beautiful artwork.
Yeah, it was J.H. Williams, right?
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. Tomorrow Stories, top 10. But then, the Cobweb character was like, I'm good. That one started falling apart. Johnny B. Quick with Kevin Nolan's art.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, this was going to be great.
Martial law.
I don't know if this had any real ramifications, but obviously that started with Wildstorm. Yeah, and so Alan Moore was working with Jim Lee and his team, and then Jim Lee sold Wildstorm to DC, to whom Alan Moore famously vowed never to work for DC again.
Yep.
And it's like, you just sold my entire, output to the one place that I absolutely vowed not to do anything with again. And sure enough, he didn't last very much longer after that had officially kind of settled into place.
I mean, you gotta admire he stuck to his guns. I mean, he's like, no, I'm good, thanks. I'm better than this. And they did. I mean, as far as I know and have read, they did screw him over a bit. So I don't blame him.
Yeah.
You'd love to see more. Love to see more Chris Sprouse art as well.
You can get it, grab it.
Yeah.
I even bought, he did like one issue. It was like the very end of like Rob Liefeld's New Men.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, this is going to be cool. And it was like the final issue of that series or something like that. It was just like one.
Nope.
And I was like, well, okay, that was good enough.
Yeah.
I mean, even of Rob Liefeld, property, it's like how much better it was than Chris Sprouse's art.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'll buy it. If it was any of his other proteges or whatever, I'd be like, nope, never gonna. I had no interest. It was like issue 22 or something like that. It was like issue 22 after like 8 years of comics, of running perpetually late titles.
Yeah,
but it's like
people are still waiting for him.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I bought Hammerlock because it had Chris Sprouse's art, and just some random books because it's like, oh, and I mean, one of the best was, I think it was just called The Legionnaires, and that had a trade-off between Chris Sprouse, Adam Hughes, Chris Sprouse, Adam Hughes, and you're like,
can't go wrong there. I mean,
yeah, it was like, and you're like struggling where it's like, do you want one artist over the other? It's like, I can't say which one's better,
Right, yeah, you have two slow artists. Hey, you guys want to share the book? Go right ahead. You guys are go right ahead.
Yep, I'm fine with that.
Yep,
fine with that.
We did some one and dones.
We did our Christmas ones that we always kind of like, hey, happy holidays. We'll read a Christmas specific issue.
Yeah, and then for New Year's, and then finally, episode 12, we talked about Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sure.
Got there eventually.
Yeah.
I did go back through it, and I think I pooped on it to begin with because I didn't feel like it had the punch. Like, obviously Byrne got to do whatever he wanted to do. So when he launched, like he did the Man of Steel miniseries, He did the World of Krypton miniseries, the World of Smallville miniseries, the World of Metropolis miniseries. Then he had his book, Superman, and he swapped over Action Comics. And then the numbering of Superman went over to Adventures of Superman. So there was like a third title that it picked up the numbering from the original Superman or something like that, so that could keep going. So that was like complete world building. John Byrne's vision had this big gravitas of like, boom, look at that. This is amazing. He's completely renovating and invigorating for that time. Superman
seemed historic.
Yeah. It was an event kind of a thing. And then, Frank Miller in only 4 issues did year 1, but that was on the heels of The Dark Knight Returns. But that was kind of reworking Batman's roots and seeing that Catwoman was almost there at the beginning and some of these other things that were there, Commissioner Gordon establishing some of the stuff that you could do. And that was in David Mazzucchelli. I don't know if that's how you pronounce the last name, but his artwork, phenomenal. And it was like that I could read over and over again. And so then I got to Wonder Woman. And it's like, okay, that's part of the Trinity of DC. Yeah. And George Perez's art, fantastic stuff. But it just didn't have that, like, it hooked as strongly as Byrne's Superman and as strongly as Frank Miller's Batman did.
Mm-hmm.
It was, it was setting a lot of groundwork in that first issue. And I think we only read the first issue.
Yeah.
We didn't go too terribly deep, and it probably would have changed up if we did, but it was just kind of like, I didn't feel it as revolutionary of, because like Superman, his power, he was never Superboy. And so that already set the stage of, this is not Superman that you remember. This is a different take on Superman.
Right.
Batman Year 1 was like, we're going to tell his story as if there was never that campy 60s Batman. There's not the weird 50s Batman, the comic code and force where it's like aliens are coming down to invade Gotham, and it's like, nope, he's always been this grim detective from the get-go, and always kind of like not trusted but still respected kind of by the law and so forth, and just the troubles he had and the establishment of it. And it felt like, wow, that is a tale being told that was going to be different than what Batman was prior.
Yeah.
And then here it was, is like Wonder Woman. Yep. Okay. Still Paradise Island. Yeah. But it's kind of more Themyscira, which is only something that George Perez could draw. No one else could really. But then it was like, but it was still Wonder Woman as usual.
Yeah. It was a lot of traditional aspects of Wonder Woman. I've read probably the first 20 issues of that series, never in a row though. Like it was as I got them, or I got a trade or something. And it was. I can certainly see what you're saying about. It had less impact. It certainly wasn't the movie reel that everything else was, but I think he did a lot of very important groundwork and took his time to do it, where Byrne kind of just, here's the movie version of it, and he's going to come out and be this hero. I thought Wonder Woman was kind of a slower burn. No pun intended there, but I think probably around issue 7 or 8 he kind of hit his stride and was like doing the cheetah and all these origins that kind of made more sense than the originals and kind of fit in better. A lot of history with characters that had been introduced back in the 40s. He kind of reintroduced them. Even Steve Trevor wasn't exactly the same kind of character that he was, like love interest. He never really was a love interest for this George Perez one. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm not remembering that right, but I seem to think that he got set up pretty early on dating one woman's friends, and that's kind of where it went. But isn't that always the case? don't get me wrong, the art was much better for Wonder Woman than the Byrne stuff. I mean, ugh. But it was slower. I can see what you're saying with that. And yeah, I do remember you just weren't too thrilled about it.
Yeah, I wasn't enthralled.
Yeah.
I will say, like you said, I could see where it was heading, and the slow burn is absolutely the right term. It's like this was going to take a while.
Yeah.
So it didn't feel as epic as Wonder Woman, and especially when he rolled in more of the Greek myth than had been established prior. And so it was like, oh, okay, this is going to really be different. But it just took a lot longer. So, and we only gave it the one issue. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
So if I had given it more, so I do feel this one kind of changed my mind in hindsight. That I would put this in the good category. I wouldn't put it in a must have, but I would definitely put it in a much better light and much better favor.
Yeah. We should probably go back and read a couple more issues, maybe to give it a more fair shake.
Yeah.
But I mean, this was Percy Jackson before Percy Jackson was cool, you know. He gave all this thought to the Greek gods, and I just think he had a lot more to fix with Wonder Woman. I mean, I didn't agree with all the Byrne fixes anyway with getting rid of the Legion of Superheroes and stuff, but it seemed like, and maybe it's possible Perez wasn't always writer oriented, and this was his first big, here, you're taking this over, you're going to write it. And maybe it just was a lot to do. And so he had to be a great artist and a great writer and a great creator, and here's 4 months. You got to do it. Go. And you're like,
yeah, I'm not familiar with pacing. Yeah. Cause like you said, Frank Miller had been doing Daredevil on his own for a long time before doing, Batman Year One, and Byrne had done so much already on his own. Alpha Flight,
Fan 4,
for Fan 4, the Hulk, all of this stuff he was doing already for Marvel. So that when he came over to DC, he had it already down. This was like Perez was coming off the heels of the new Teen Titans,
right?
And so I was like, well, they got to start somewhere.
Right. Yeah. I can't ask Marv to write my book for me,
Yeah. Some insight would be fine, but not out and out.
Right.
Then we came to
your favorite,
Marvel's Secret War. The toy endorsement disguised as a comic book.
Yep. And really my first introduction to a lot of those Marvel characters like Galactus and Ultron. Like I collected Avengers and X-Men and stuff like that. Big Avengers or big X-Men fan, but it was the first time I understood that they were all in the same universe and like huge and big terrible villains and stuff like that. And so Mike Zeck art, I don't remember what we said on Secret Wars. I like the art. Probably could have been better at some stages. I don't think it was his best work. Yeah. And some of the story, didn't make sense. Didn't make sense at all.
Not at and then to throw, was it Thundra or whatever her name was?
Just Volcana.
Yeah. We just had 2 more people just chilling in chambers. They weren't part of it, but we're just going to throw them in. And it's like, why?
Right. Yeah.
There's no reason.
Nowadays it'd be new action figures. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we're going to put Spider-Man, and it was, like you said, with the action figures, it was like, we're going to give him a new costume so that we can sell one more Spider-Man figure. And I was like,
yep,
that worked.
You got it. And that's the series that, for me, that's the iconic covers with the Hulk under a mountain, saving everybody, and just the Mike Zeck first issue they're coming at you. Just some iconic covers. A lot of great memories of this series. Brainless. We're gonna duke it out in this scene. We're gonna duke it out in this scene, and they tried to do characterization and stuff, and it was Spider-Man fighting the X-Men. That was cool, and it was just a lot of cool scenes in a story that was really pretty messy. But I have a lot of fond memories collecting it and enjoying it, rereading it again 10 years later, and it's like, that wasn't that good, was it?
Well, I mean, it was, for what it was amazing to have an event comic from Marvel like that. It was, they didn't have anything. And obviously I had not read it when it came out. One of my older brothers had it and he was collecting them all, but I couldn't touch them. So I got to see the cover. So I was very familiar with them when they were coming out, but I hadn't read them. So I read them for this podcast, and it's just like, my 80s mind would have been blown by the fact that I was like, check this out. It's got all these cool characters, and, at no point did it make sense that it's like they had clubhouses for them to stay in. Right. And it just, I mean, just how ridiculous of a concept is that? It's like, okay, it's almost like boys and girls. Okay, boys are going to stay on this side of the island, girls are going to stay on this side of the island. And it's like, okay, good guys are going to be over here, bad guys are going to be here. You're going to have your own little clubhouse, and you can chat all you want over there. And we'll have foosball, we'll have a pinball machine.
You mutants go over there.
Yeah, and you guys, we don't know really what to do with you. So we're going to have a third one over here for you. And then we're going to put Magneto in there, just to kind of change things up a little bit. And it's like, oh, brother, this was, it was hastily conceived. But I will say the component where Dr. Doom took on Galactus was like, okay, that worked. If you have a room full of monkeys typing somewhere, somehow, a line of Shakespeare will be written. That's what it felt like when that Dr. Doom and Galactus kind of interaction kind of thing kicked in.
Yeah.
And it's like, so Galactus was going after the Beyonder, which is like, okay, that made sense. Because it's like, there's nothing bigger, badder than Galactus. And then to have Galactus taken out that quickly is like, oh, okay, well, it sets the stakes.
I think it was necessary for us to read later on Deadpool's Secret Wars.
Yeah.
and that to me made that series much better. Like, it was like, yes, modern take. Here's this character no one remembers. It made me laugh.
That did salvage that. And I mean, but at the same point, you had to have read that series in order for that Deadpool
for the joke,
any sense whatsoever. But yeah, we talked about that. I think that was the first of the underwear episodes was due to the Secret Wars, where Cap and Co were just
sleeping with the Hulk.
Yep.
I mean, that's such an iconic image in my head.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that hasn't made like posters out of that or anything.
Right. It's on our t-shirt, right?
Yeah. So kind of surprised.
Yep.
Secret Wars.
Yep. And then episode 15. Wow, we're already on 15. The Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, this is where the tables turned. As much as I'm cynical about everything else and that's not good, that's not good, I still love this one.
Yeah, I think this is the first series where I went, was it good? And you went, yes, it's great, it's a first disagreement. And
so I don't know, initially I was like going, maybe he's doing this because I didn't like his Wonder Woman. Maybe he's just trying to find a way of getting petty revenge.
Like, how you had talked about the Wonder Woman, maybe you made the mistake. And I would say I would give an Umbrella Academy another try, because maybe I got it wrong and I just was not in the right frame of mind at the time. And because everything about that story says you should have liked that. The art was pretty good. The story was wonky, but you like wonky. And I should have liked that story and I didn't. And I bet it was just the wrong book at the wrong time.
Yeah, it felt as if like how crisp and clean Tom Strong was. This was the punk rock Tom Strong.
Yeah.
It was just, can we be weird to be weird? Can we throw some oddities? Like, oh, we're going to have the manservant is a monkey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the the big hero, the muscle is actually like head on a gorilla's body. All the characters had these weird powers as opposed to more traditional powers like rumor. It's like rumor has it that you forgot to breathe. And it's like, oh, I can't remember how to breathe. And
Right.
and it's like, that's quirky. Everything about it was quirky, but the world was established pretty quick, like the Tom Strong world was, and that there was just enough weirdness to it to keep my interest. And there was a through line story and about parental neglect, and there was
I like Hellboy and Art Adams, kind of the gorilla dude. What's his name?
Monkey Man and O'Brien.
Monkey Man. Like that all seems kind of the same level of quirkiness, and all has apes in it for some reason. But I should have liked the Umbrella Academy, and I didn't. I should revisit this book. I should.
Yeah, and I don't know if it makes it better or worse of the fact that it resonated with enough people that Netflix did that series, based off of the comics. So,
did you see how that one ended?
Not at all. I think we dropped Netflix almost shortly after that show hit the first season, and then I was like, oh, and I didn't even finish the season, so I was like, oh well.
Yeah, I haven't had Netflix on for a while either, so anything on Netflix in the last 4 or 5 years, I totally don't know what's on there.
Yeah.
Grant Morrison again, All-Star Superman. Grant Morrison, I liked his writing, pretty good stuff. This was 10 or 12 issues, I don't know, 10. And I think I liked every even number or something like that.
Yeah.
When I
like the Star Trek syndrome of like, if it's an even number, it's a good Star Trek movie. If it's an odd number, good luck.
Yeah. There was a couple in the middle with the Bizarro that I didn't like, but overall I remember loving the series. It's just, again, it was the same reason I like Tom Strong. They were kind of traditional but timeless stories, kind of playing around with who Superman is. I probably had some weird cuts to say about the story and all that, but overall, I generally think I liked that series. I don't think it's the greatest series that other people say it is. There's Superman stories I like better, and a lot of people put this up there in the top 3. I wouldn't, but certainly top 10. The art was Frank Quitely. Was that mostly what it was? I don't know.
Yeah. So if you like your people with wide faces and lumpy bodies, but amazingly consistently done.
Right. Yeah, he could do no wrong. He drew and he knew his own art style to the T.
Yeah. No matter what angle that Lex Luthor looked like, that Lex Luthor. His lumpy, doughy Clark Kent looked like a lumpy, doughy Clark Kent from any angle. Had the same slouch, the same body posture. It all worked really well. I liked it, even the Bizarro stuff. I felt what ultimately I liked about it was that it was a finite series. That it had these little offshoot stories, certainly, and this was happening here, certainly. And like you said, the Bizarro thing kind of took a detour. Like, okay, I guess we can head down to this, sub world, I guess, and all that to have, and that whole story was there so that he could say that there's a Bizarro to the Bizarros who is basically the same as Superman.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like you took 2 issues out of your 12. You took, what is that, like 16%? Of your story run just to tell us that there is a Bizarro to the Bizarros, because no one's done that before.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, how it was just like, yeah, okay, I get it. But I like that, with the exception of maybe like Mr. Mxyzptlk, he had pretty much some representation of most anything and everything that Superman, that was core to Superman.
Yeah.
And he did it in that short run. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. It did lag a little bit in that section it wrapped up, and it had that. I felt he stuck the landing better in that one, but it also felt a lot like Alan Moore's. Again, we're talking Alan Moore, like you said, and then Grant Morrison is kind of the shadow of Alan Moore, and it's like whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow, the final Superman story before Byrne took over. It felt a lot like that, whereas like all these things were falling apart on Superman, and it's like, what is happening? This and this, and my secret identity's been blown, and this is happening, and I'm gonna, and then when it got revealed, he, wrapped it up. But at the same point, you thought, and everybody else is like, oh, that's it for Superman, whereas in, the man, whatever happened to the Man Tomorrow, it was a classic, like, well, he went into the vault. And then in this one, he went into the sun.
Right. Yeah.
But then they had that little reveal, like almost a post-credit scene of, in this one, it was like, oh, there he is. He's getting the sun, working this motor or whatever to kind of revitalize the sun. Okay. And then the Man of Tomorrow gave that Kurt Swan wink at the end of those 2 issues.
I wasn't, again, a lot of endings. I'm like, really? And I think when I look back on All-Star Superman, I really wanted that to be in continuity. So when he at the end of the series, he's in the sun, I'm like, that's it? That's what's he gonna do now?
Yeah.
And I know later on he played with DC 1 million and had a Superman living in the sun there. So he took some of the concepts from that stuff and used them later on. I remember for those All-Star Supermans, I really like the Lois Lane and Superman dynamic on that. Those are the issues that I would reread again, and just really enjoyed how he had them portrayed and they come across to each other, and Lois got superpowers for a day or whatever. And those are the parts that I enjoyed the most from that series and remember from that series. Is Grant Morrison the one we talked about the most writer? I don't know. Probably Byrne, but
yeah, if we went back through, I don't know. That's a good question.
Then for some reason we talked about Star Wars, That's
yeah.
I think I forced it. Like, well, we talk about Star Wars in every episode.
Forced it.
But we brought up Star Wars Dark Empire, and I totally agree with everything we said in that story. It was the sequel trilogy, but done better. I mean, let's be honest. Star Wars just happened to come out at the right time, at the right place, just like a lot of things. And it had a great toy line that came out that none of us as kids saw before, the quality and the cool figures and all these characters, and just it took our imagination somewhere else. It was just chance, because if you came up with that idea now, people will be like, that's it, that's boring, we've seen it a million times. It was just the late 70s was ripe for something like that. Boom, took off. That's it. And then after Return of the Jedi, it was nothing for a decade. No Star Wars, nothing. And that's all we had. And we kind of grew up and out of it, but still loved that memory. Yep. And then, slowly books come back and oh yeah, I like these characters, and some of these books are good, some of them are not, but and then 1999, here's the Phantom Menace. Even, the movie's not that great.
No.
But memories, just nostalgia, and you're never going to see that. You're going to see that once 100 years.
Then jumped into our What If series.
Marvel has their Elseworld kind of thing, just like DC does, and the What If. I mean, even before the cartoon of What If, I've always liked them. I have a small collection of them. I don't try to get all of them or whatever, but if I see one that has an interesting title from the past, I don't get any of the new stuff, but I'll pick it up. I probably have 24 or something like that of the issues, and they're all fun to read. A lot of them end up being part of the regular story
Continuity. Yeah.
continuity. Oh, this was a good idea. Let's do it. Yeah, I mean that's actually one of our more popular episodes is our what if stuff. And we did another round of it, I think, eventually. But if somebody woke up in the middle of the night going, "What if Wolverine was a sous chef and he,
Yeah. He had
oh,
Ginsu knives instead of
right,
adamantium blades.
right," and then that's it. They run with that, and
Yeah,
it's
with one sentence, they make a comic book out of it.
There's a couple more here. Something is killing the children. I think this was the most excited I was for a book that I'd never read before. Like most of this stuff I'd read once or twice before. Secret Wars I've read 1,000 times before. I think Something is Killing the Children was so new, and I went, let's do that one. And I went all in. I bought like the thick hardcover. It's got
Dang.
30 issues, and read that, and I just love it. I just bought the second hardcover one. I haven't touched it yet, but this was the first thing that I read that I felt was new, and it wasn't the usual art I like, and I still can't explain why I liked it because it's so not George Perez or it's
Yeah.
not traditional superhero. It's everything that younger me would have went, this is dumb. This is about some horror comic. But I love this series and still on board. Just got to catch up with it. I just remember being really excited that I liked something within the last decade that was made,
Yeah, and there's definitely something to be said even about the fact that this was an IP that neither of us had encountered before. Because most of these things were, classic Marvel characters, classic DC characters. We know what a Superman story is going to be like. We know what a group title is going to be like. But this one was like, I have no idea what I'm walking into. And even like when it was like a new IP, it was already something we had read leading into this. So, the Tom Strong, the Umbrella Academy, those are new IPs, but I had already read those series. So it wasn't, I was revisiting an old friend, not, going like, hey, here's my new best friend over here kind of a thing. So, did we just become best friends? That kind of a thing where it was just this new. And reading this one, it was like, I don't know what I'm walking into. And it was like everything about it was great. It was not the slow burn, but it did gradual reveal. And one of the things we kind of skipped over when we were talking about like, some of these one and done books was we asked each other like, okay, you read one issue. Would it make you want to read any more? Did you want to buy any further issues? Right. And this was one of those that, yeah, we read like the first 6 issues, but like the trade paperback may have had 9.
Yeah.
And so it was like, I'm going to keep reading, but we'll talk only about the 6 issues that we were supposed to talk about. So that was a resounding endorsement for that title because it was just like, I did actually want to keep reading to see like what is going on. What is this like creatures that only kids could see? What is this that's going around and why these characters, the House of Slaughter and all this stuff. It's like enough world building that was opened up more and more mysteries that you wanted to figure out. It wasn't like I'm just throwing out a mystery like Jar Jar Abrams does, where you're just like, yep, it's a mystery box. And eventually I'll tell you what this red goo that I'm putting into every single movie that I do. Star Trek, yep, red goo. Alias, yep, red goo.
Lost,
yep. There's, and it's just like, good grief. Your mystery boxes are your only gimmick you got. And so all that to say, yeah, this one was another resounding spot on.
Yeah, it was just refreshing. Let's end it with episode 21.
I win.
Darwyn Cooke, The New Frontier. I mean, come on. It's Darwyn Cooke.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, again, another, multifaceted crossover event with all this stuff. We were talking about John Byrne reinventing, Superman, George Perez doing the Wonder Woman, and Batman with Frank Miller. This is the entire DC universe Silver Age.
Yeah.
Like, really, why did they get together? What was it? And it kept unique approach to them all, and kept actually made more sense to have, like, Martian Manhunter, and it put it into the space race, because DC was more science based in their characters than Marvel was, even though there was Dr. Banner was radioactivity and so forth, but a lot of the villains and the heroes were more scientist based. Lex Luthor was basically a mad scientist, at that
my hair.
point. Yeah, I will hunt you down for the rest of my, because I lost my hair.
Darn you, Superboy.
Yeah, but that's quite the way to hold a grudge. But this was this was all space race driven, and every character I felt, with the exception of, oddly enough, Batman, Superman, and to a lesser degree Wonder Woman, they all had a part to play in it.
Mm-hmm.
Those other characters were there, certainly, but they weren't as pivotal as Green Lantern was, as the Flash was, especially Martian Manhunter. I mean, he had a massive story arc in this. So and then just Darwyn Cooke's art, his love of that era was absolutely shining through. The covers were brilliant posters in and of themselves. Yeah, that was a fantastic run.
Every time I read it, I like it more. I think the first time I read it, I was like, it's okay. But the art was gorgeous. And then every time I read it, I get something else from it. And you could just tell he loved those characters at that time, and was trying to put his own little, I don't want to say spin. He just took those characters and made them stronger.
Yeah,
relevant characters, and it's just a great series. It should get higher acclaim than it does, and then it does get acclaim, but it should be higher up on everybody's list. So that was our first 21 episodes of the podcast. So some of you, that's just a reminder of what we talked about. Some of you have heard it. Some of you don't dare go back that far.
It was tough for us to go back that far too.
There's some good episodes in there.
Yeah,
a little rough sometimes too, but that's okay. That's why we're still doing it, because it's kind of fun to grow. But if you want to hear about those, I mean, you go to our webpage, and this is why I love comics podcast.buzzsprout.com. All those episodes are there. You can also get them on any app of where you get your podcasts. We're on there, and this is why I love comics podcast. You can email us at this is why I love comics@gmail.com. We're on Facebook, and this is why I love comics podcast. We're on the TikTok, why I love comics podcast. I do float around there as Andy from the podcast. You can support the show. We would love to have you be a Patreon member, and go check it out on patreon.com. And this is why I love comics. A lot of our videos and stuff, like what you're seeing now, is on there. We're going to try to put them out on YouTube too. Thanks, Mike, for putting that last episode out on YouTube. What else? Thanks to producer Katie, co-hosts Matt 2.0, Kevin, Jamie, Matt 10.0, Keegan, Roberto, Ben Ferrari. Thanks to Thunder Chicken. We got quite a list going on here now. Thunder Chicken for all the music. Kevin's other band is Semi Casual Bedtime. You should check them out. They're pretty cool too. And so for the show, I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And we will talk to you next time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
This felt very much like those special episodes of Family Ties, where it was like Now, remember little Joey? I can't remember what the little child was at the end of the episode when they introduced Family Ties' cousin Oliver into it. It's like,
oh yes.
Do you remember when your older brother, Alex P. Keaton, got in trouble at school? Dooley, 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 dooley.